Good day YouTube, Sketchbooks Gaming here, coming to you with another video for today, and for this one I wanted to try doing something special for you guys. So I've already done one tutorial and I'm still kind of working at making tutorials in the first place, but for this one I wanted to try doing something special, and what I'm actually planning on showing you guys is how to draw a dragon like the one that you're seeing now, but I'm probably going to try leaning on the eastern side of dragons currently because they're a little bit easier to draw, well, at least at the start, but I'll get into that later. For now, let's get into the start of this video. I'm just going to make sure that my OBS is directly on it. Okay, there we go. Ooh, wow. It's quite the glare from my screen. Let's go and fix that. And to do that, I'm going to go in the background, unlock the layer. It's lagging a little bit because I haven't used it for a few minutes. And I'm going to go to this color selector once it opens. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to put that to a duller gray. The layer is locked. I thought I unlocked it. Okay, that's a little too gray. Let's see. Right around here. And keep in mind that as a rising artist, I'm also partially learning as I do this. So just a heads up if I forget to clarify something as I learn it. But the first thing that you want to do, I'm moving too fast. Okay, the first thing you want to do is move to image over here, and you want to find resize canvas, and make sure that your art is, well, make sure your canvas is at least 1200 by 1200 pixels. I find that personally this works best, especially since PCs keep getting larger and having better resolution. So drawing anything below 800 by 800, sometimes it appears small on some people's PCs, but let's get right into doing the drafting for this layer. So for those of you who have not drawn a dragon before, it's pretty easy, at least if you do it right, of course. That goes for everything. So what you want to do is you want to go to this square layer, make sure that you're on the basic pencil option, take your opacity up to 50 and your size up to 3. It's very important that it's on 3 because once you start drafting, you don't want your sketch layer to be the same color or thickness as your drafting layer. So what you do from here is you go and you draw a light bulb. It doesn't have to be even because with OBS, what you can do is you can go to the select feature right here, right below the paintbrush, and you can warp it to any shape you want. So once you've got the light bulb drawn, what you want to do is you want to take that, let's see. Take this part right here and raise the bottom up by a few inches, like so. And what this does is it creates a mouth and a chin for the dragon that you are drawing. Feel free to add fangs or whatever to the draft that you are making. It's more fun that way in the future. Okay, so what you want to do next is you want to draw curved raindrops right around the top of the muzzle. These will act as the nostrils to the dragon, but you are not done here. What you actually have to do next, if you're drawing an Eastern dragon without like the dog snout or whatever, is you have to start above and stay a certain distance back from where you are drawing the nostrils to draw the outside of the nose. We're not going to get into the scales yet because you have to draw the facial expression the scales go onto. So in this case, let's see. There's so many types of dragons that I could draw. I could try subaquatic or astral, but for this one, I'm going to be doing the eyes first. And with the eyes, what you want to do is you want to make sure that they are no larger than the nose, than one of the nose nostrils appears from this angle. This is actually very important because if you draw the eyes too big, it starts to look uncanny once you have the full body in length. So once you've got that drawn, then you want to do the eye, well, you want to do the, let's see, the eyelids. Don't try to draw the hair yet or anything, because if you have not drawn the full base of the body, it's going to come off looking not so good. In any case, I'm going to make this snout a little bit wider. And something you want to make sure of is that the snout and the head are equal lengths. You don't want the snout being bigger than the head unless you're trying to draw like a crocodile or something. But here's the next phase, and that would be drawing the ears. So you want to go from the top of where you're drawing right here, and then you want to start here, and the ears will be right about here. You're probably wondering why I'm not starting like right in the middle, right here, where it's the exact center. That is where the horns are actually going to go. So what you want to do is you want to get the ears drawn first. Any pattern will do as long as it's visible. Since I'm an experienced artist, I'm not going to draw this symmetrical. So I'm going to draw this coming from this direction, and you'll see why in a little bit. But for now, I'm going to take the warp feature and ensure that this second wing is big enough. Okay, so there are the ears. You can make them larger if you want, or whatever shape. But the next part, and this is important, is drawing the horns. I seriously recommend, as a pro tip, that you do not make the horns too big or too unique, because what you will find is that eventually you're going to start drawing the scales or making a texture like scales. And it helps to have the scales go down their back with the horns, like down their spine. And overcomplicating it with things like this is not actually a horn design or anything. That can become very complicated sometimes, and it makes redrawing your own character or dragon a pain sometimes. So in this case, I'm going to have forward-facing horns like this. They're going to curve upward. Like so, and make sure that they always start out thick at the base and slowly get thinner. Otherwise, they are not going to look too realistic, unless you're drawing a magic dragon, of course, in which case it's perfectly fine. So let's see. And it's fine if it's not symmetrical off the bat. You can fix it later, as long as you don't start sketching first. Because if you start sketching the asymmetry, it's going to be an issue. You always want to fix the piece that you're drawing first and closest to ensure that you are not forgetting about it, because that does happen. For me, I'm going to put this character at a tilt. because of the direction I'm going to have him coming in. And let's see. Yeah, he's going to be flying in at around... Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. So he's going to be coming in from the right side of the screen. So next I'm going to be drawing the horn. Well, you can have spikes and horns here if you want, but personally I prefer fins. So I'm going to, and this is pretty important, but whether you're drawing either, you want to start halfway to the top from where the horns are, and you want to have it meet right at the center where the eyebrows would normally start. So have it stop right here. And after you get there, what you want to do is you want to start doing the design of whatever type of fins or horns that you want to draw. There's no specific criteria for this. The same will go for the ones on the cheek. You'll want to start right here, right around the same line as the eyes. And after that, you want to start making a similar design to what you had drawn on top earlier. Okay, so as you can see, the dragon's face is mostly done. I'm going to erase some of these lines so that it looks a little bit less like a light bulb. Okay. So this next part is actually relatively important. What you want to make sure that you do is you draw where the muzzle ends and the eyes begin, because that's going to be where you stop shading the muzzle and you start drawing the rest of the dragon. So currently I am on the head of the dragon, and I'm going to make sure that I put this a little bit further over with the select tool. Okay, let's tilt this. So from here, you want to start drawing the body, and you can make it as long as you want, but I would recommend that you try to make it about as long as a snake's body normally would be, since dragons are based off of them. Let's see. It takes a while sometimes to find the right pills because their bodies are so long. So don't be discouraged if it takes like 45 minutes sometimes for you to figure out the right pills for the dragon you want to make. It also helps to take the delay feature if you zoom out down to about 12. Or 15, whichever one works better. And what you want to start doing actually is you want to find the distance of the neck and the hands. It helps to make sure that the neck is at least as long as the full head. After you get the pose done properly. Okay, I think I found the good one. Okay, and what you're going to have to do sometimes, because dragons are actually pretty hard to draw, this walkthrough might be about 8 different video parts of 44 minutes. But what you want to do is you want to occasionally resize Krita's canvas, and what you will find is that every time you resize it, the background is not going to, well, you're going to have to keep filling it in sometimes. Sometimes it might help to start with a large background and then make it smaller, but that's not my personal style of doing things. So, if you're still working on the dragon's body at this point, that is completely fine. As I said before, this takes a while because you want to make sure that you draw everything right the first time. Otherwise, you're going to have to erase something or even restart. Okay, so at this point, the dragon's body is hopefully, for the most part, done. But if you are unhappy with its length or need to distort it, feel free to use the warping tool, like so. You are not going to fill this layer in, trust me. The dragon's body is a little too complex to just fill in at this phase. But you can if you want to, and press Ctrl-C to see how it might turn out in any specific color. Just make sure that all of the lines are properly filled, like so. And that's just to make sure that you have an idea of where you want everything. So now that I've mainly covered the main body, it's time to, let's see, make sure that it's the right proportions. Okay. And from here you want to start the second layer, and here you would start drawing the hands of the dragon. Now previously I said that you want the hands to, well, you want the arms to start at the same length as where the head would be. You could if you want to, but sometimes it helps to just ensure that sometimes you have to include the horns. That's what I forgot to say earlier. So the length of the whole dragon's head is about this big, so I would start the arms back here. And there are two styles of arms. There is the muscle style you see on some characters, and then there is the animalistic style for if they are quadrupedal. Since dragons often have a lot of power and reptiles are known to have grips, I'm going to be doing the first style. And what you want to do here is you want to start by going to the back of the dragon's arm, and you want to draw semi-closed parentheses like so. And from here, you just draw another semi-closed parenthesis. I started it too low. Okay, so semi-closed parenthesis. And you just want to do the same thing again twice. Sometimes it helps to do in a different direction, but don't be discouraged if you have to keep restarting like I'm doing. Like, I've actually been drawing dragons for quite a bit, but yeah, sometimes you have to just restart a certain part because it's starting off too badly. And something you want to make sure you do right off the bat is start drawing the other arm at the same height. Because if you don't, you will very likely find that you are not managing to get the arms anatomically correct in the future, and it's going to really stand out and throw off your tempo later on. Since dragons are normally imposing, what you want to do is you want to have the arms traveling in two different directions, at least the forearms. And again, this is special for the elbows. You want to draw one parenthesis at a 45-degree angle. And then you want to start again with the semi-closed parentheses again, right here. And once you start getting to the hand, this is where things can get a little complicated. So what you want to do is you want to start off drawing a straight line for where the wrist starts and ends. And then you want to smoothly arc it down like so. Dragons have long fingers, so it's sometimes hard to get it right the first time. But you want to start with one finger after you get the palm made right here. And you want to basically make sure that you start off with the next finger slowly being above where the last one is. Make sure that you only do this for one finger. You only have to do it for one in order to get the full aesthetic of their hand being, well, their hand being stretched out, being, well, perceived by the viewer. And what you want to do after here is you want to start arching back with the fingers so that they eventually meet back up. This hand looks ugly, but sometimes that's par for the course. So what you want to do at this point is take the warping feature . There is a way to fix this. I would not recommend erasing your own art. Sometimes you have to use the warping tool just to start putting some thickness behind everything in the piece. And this is very important. Make sure that you add the thumb. The thumb is actually relatively important to what you would be drawing on the dragon. Sometimes you might want them to hold something. It might be elemental magic or something. And it just helps to have a base from the start. And what you want to do with the second arm, if you're not too sure of how to draw it, would be you could have it overlap or underlap rather with this one to make it look like the dragon's hands are together. Personally, that style never really suited me, so I'm going to draw the other direction, and I'm going to have its next hand outstretched like this, like so. that is its thumb that I am drawing and the palm of its hand. So again, arched fingers. This is actually pretty important for dragons because most of the times they are drawn, they are symbolic, and this is done to show that they are expressing power in some way or another over the surroundings. So after you've got the shoulders and the arms made, what you would want to do next, and this is very important if you've been following this design so far, is you want to go back up here. You see this area where the shoulder starts? You want to start drawing the chest right there, and a rule of thumbs is to make sure that it covers the shoulder in the background. So I'm going to go back down one layer and erase this, and I'm going to start erasing the previous line I had here. And then I'm going to go up one layer and start erasing the arm. And that is how to start drawing the beginning part of the chest. Now I'm going to go back down one more layer and I'm going to erase the tail in the background from the hands. And I'm going to go up one, erase the forearm, of course. Clicked on the wrong layer. As I said before, this actually takes a lot of work, and as you can see probably or have noticed, I've actually already made a mistake. I did not make the arm on the left side as big as the one on the right. So this is why you need to start off doing the chest sometimes, just so that you can get that full scope of where the arm would be and how to redraw it before you start going to the drafting phase. It is true that the sketch that you are making right now is very likely your first draft, but the sketch is actually to get an idea of what the rough draft will be before you turn it into the final draft. Let's get that thumb fully proportionalized. And those fingers properly lengthened. Okay, so after you've gotten the arms and the legs done, what you want to do is you want to go to layer and you want to merge the layer down below. You can do this whenever you want, but I'm doing this to ensure that time is saved. For later, I don't want to accidentally start drawing on the wrong layer, so keeping it down to 1 as long as possible simplifies it for me. But yeah, if your sketch is going on the way that you planned, then it should look something like this, or however you like drawing dragons. Everyone has their own style. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.